Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's video has been a request by several different people. They have asked me to go over what one should do in case we lose our electrical grid. Now, to start off with, the United States has 3 grids, and they're divided east, west, and Texas. I'm talking about, just the lower 48s, not Texas, not Hawaii and Alaska. So yeah, Texas has their own grid, and then the east and the west. And I'll stick a picture here so you can check it out for yourself. So as you can see, a lot of us are intermingled here. And to start with, there are 3 ways basically on how we would lose power in our electric grid. The first would be like a computer hack. And to me, this would probably be the best scenario, because if it's done through like the internet, through computers, we would be able to get it back up and running quicker. And it also means that most likely it's not all 3 grids. It's probably just one. And so while that would be catastrophic to whoever was living in that area, it is better than the entire United States. A second way we could have our grid knocked out is from a solar flare, an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. There are solar storms, and they occasionally shoot off these, really intense flares. And one of those could hit our area and knock out our grid. It could knock out all 3 of them, or maybe just one of them. It wouldn't be good, because an electromagnetic pulse is kind of like, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of like lightning, only way hotter, way faster. And with an EMP, it will like burn up pretty much everything electrical. Won't hurt us personally, we'll be all right. But anything with a circuit board, a computer chip, anything electric, it would make it useless. So you wouldn't be able to drive your cars. You wouldn't be able to pump gas. You wouldn't be able to go to the grocery store. Nothing there would work. Hospitals, any kind of healthcare facility, those people would be in some really deep problems. Basically every store would be closed, with no electricity. Water, all those pumps, those won't be firing up, if there isn't electricity to run the pumps. Your heat in your house, everything. No banking, no money, no communications. None of our cell phones would work, not even landlines. It'd be terrible. It would be just terrible. I don't know what the likelihood of that is happening, and that too doesn't necessarily mean it would knock out the entire United States. It would depend on where it hit. It's an act of nature, of God, But there is another way, a third way, that our grid could be knocked out, and that is creating an EMP right above our country, right in the middle, like miles above Kansas. If a nuclear reactor if a nuclear bomb were exploded up there in our atmosphere, it would cover the entire United States. It would also cover some portions of Canada and Mexico. And all of us would be in deep, deep problems. We'd basically be thrown back to the 1800s before there was anything electric, because it would all be gone. And they have theorized that if that happened, within a year of us being, without power, 80% of the population or more could die. And you got to think, the people, like I said before, in hospitals and other health facilities, they're not going to get the help they need, without power. And then, of course, a lot of the personnel, they'll have, want to go and be with their families and try and help their own families. All of us on medications, how are you going to get them? I'm sure right away, there will be some shady people looting all the pharmacies and then potentially selling it on the black market. Food and water. How many people aren't going to be able to go to the grocery store? What if it's in the middle of winter? And you're in a part of the country where you can't really grow anything. And not everybody knows how to hunt or has ever even tried it. Water. If it is winter, where are you getting your fresh water from? A lot of lakes are frozen over. Maybe you could find a stream somewhere, but anywhere nearby? There's a lot of things to consider. It would just be horrendous. And with our big transformers, I'm talking the really giant ones, all being fried out, it would take a very long time before those could be replaced. Those are made overseas, and they can only be brought here by ship. And there's already a waiting list. So if something like that were to happen, what would you do? It's just another thing to prep for. Now, a lot of things that you're already prepping for would work. You have extra food stored, you have extra water stored. If you're in a colder climate like I am, you always make sure to have plenty of cold weather gear, blankets, pillows, whatever. But now you also have to think of alternative heating methods. How would you do that? I'm here in the apartment, and my only alternative heating is a propane heater, and I don't have enough propane for that to last a real long time. So what am I going to do? At my cabin I'd be fine, because I have a huge propane tank up there and propane heating, and I also have my wood burner with lots of wood, but that's 3 hours away. And without a car, how am I going to get there? So I'm planning on going somewhere else by a different family member who has a fireplace. It's just things you need to think about ahead of time. What about your medications, your family's medications? What would you do? Sometimes there's nothing you can do. I have some extra that I've put back, just that little bit that you end up with in between your scripts, being refilled. It's not enough to last me a year, I know that. But you could look for some alternatives. You could be looking into herbs, and look into them deeply. because some herbs don't mix with modern medications. So you would really have to look into that ahead of time and have a really good herbal book. More than one would be great. I'll put a couple links to ones that I like down below. For instance, like with my heart problem, if I couldn't get my medications for that, I happen to know that hawthorn would work good for me, would work well. But so would motherwort. So right there, you know, I got a couple right off the top of my head that I know I can take. What about your animals? You have enough food stored for them? What would you do? I hope they're not on medications, but again, something to look into. And then food. So a lot of men in particular would say they'd go hunting, which is great. You know, that is something you can do. And you know, a lot of men know how to hunt. A lot of women know how to hunt. I don't, but a lot of other women do. And right now, you can still get firearms, but you really can't get a whole lot of ammo. Ammo's been in short supply for a while now. Around here, you can still get 22s and like shotgun shells. And both of those you can hunt with. You know, the 22s would be for something smaller, of course, but still it would work. You know, you could learn how to trap too. And there's always fishing, you know, so think ahead with that. And then with fresh food in your house, learn like I did how to sprout. But then learn how to grow things even in your house if it's winter time. Do you have one sunny area? You know, leafy greens are the ones that can grow in cooler and less light. So think about spinach and lettuce and chard and kale and that kind of stuff. But then you can also think about foraging. There's a lot of stuff outside that's edible and nutritious and good for you. I want to show you guys this. This is like the #1 book to me on foraging. I got this quite a few years ago. And then I want to say 5-6 years ago, Paul and I went to a Preppers Expo. And the author of this book was there. And he was doing a demo. He was doing a demo. And he had actually went out that morning, and this was early November, and dug up some burdock. And it was the roots, and he was showing us the roots and how you would prepare them and what, you know. And burdock is something people just think of as a giant weed. In fact, the leaves look like rhubarb leaves. They're real big. And in the fall and winter, that's when they start putting off those burrs that stick to your clothes. Yeah, that's burdock. Well, the root is really, really good for you, and it's crunchy, and I tried it, and it's really great. But there's a lot of other stuff out there. You know, I'll put this in the description as well, but you can find small books, pocket books even, for mushrooms. Most mushrooms will not hurt you, but there are some that will kill you. So yeah, you really need to study up on stuff like that. Okay, and now depending on who you talk to about what sort of electronics would be affected. Some people will say, you know, your stuff will only be fried out if it's plugged in. And I think that's true for if the grid is taken out by a computer hack, but I don't think that's true with the EMP. I think it can fry out anything. And as far as vehicles go, I have heard several times now that vehicles that were made before 1980 could possibly run, because they don't have any kind of computer chips in them. So it'd be great if you had, you know, like a 1947 Studebaker or something, but then on the other hand, you know, you could be one of like 5 people in this city with a running vehicle, and I don't know if that's such a great idea either, you know. Your safety, you definitely would have to worry about your safety if the grid went down. There's going to be people out there that are desperate, good people, but when they're pushed into a desperate situation, they'll do desperate things. You have to know how to protect yourself, how to protect your living quarters. Something to definitely think about, look into, do what you have to do kind of thing. And then like all kinds of first aid, you would definitely need that. Whatever kind of medications, even over-the-counter medications. Because if we're living in a world that is so completely foreign to us, you know, with no power, anything, people are bound to get hurt. And they're bound to get sick. And back in those days, people died without antibiotics. So a simple cut on your hand could end up taking your life. So if you have, you know, triple antibiotic ointment, you know, clean bandages, stuff like that to have on hand. You do need to think about it. What are the odds of this happening to us? I don't think it's a high probability, but it could happen. There are quite a few countries out there right now that have the capability of doing this. And nuclear bombs have gotten smaller and smaller. They can fit into a briefcase now. They could shoot it off from, you know, a ship down in the Gulf, or even from a truck here in the country. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not trying to freak anyone out. It's just another thing to prepare for. Get yourself some homesteading books. Those will show you how to preserve food without having electricity, how to cook even. You know, do you have a grill? Do you have a fire pit? Can you make a fire pit? You know, you're going to have to know how to do these things. If you love coffee like I do, no modern coffee maker is really going to work, but you can boil water, right? And I have a couple of stovetop percolators that work great on a grill or even a campfire. You know, so just think about your daily life, your daily needs, and how things would change and what you need to do to be prepared. I don't think any of us would ever be fully prepared for something like that, but knowledge will go a long way. Skills will go a long way. You know, if you can't store a lot of water where you are, then make sure you know how to clean water. You know, you can clean water with bleach or iodine or boiling. You know, learn how to do things. I can't store, you know, tons of water here, so I know ways of doing it. I'm doing what I can, and that's what I'm saying to you guys. Do what you can. It's another circumstance, another thing that could happen to us. And I surely want all of you to survive, just like I want myself and my family to survive. So put down in comments any questions you have, any more information you'd like to share. This was just a short video. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to put down there 2 of my playlists that hopefully will help you. My prepper playlist will have quite a few videos in there on how to, you know, do things if the grid were down. It's prepping things, but you know, it's like, you know, how to make a Dakota fire hole. You know, and that's to cook some food on without having a lot of smoke so nobody knows you're around. You know, that's just one thing. And also my playlist of herbs, oils, and remedies. So that's how you can find, you know, some of these herbs or backyard weeds, and how to make some of your own remedies at home for yourself, your family. So look for those links. I'll put them in the description box. I'll try to pin them in a comment, but definitely check those out. And then do your own research. You know, do what you gotta do to stay safe and healthy. So yeah, put your comments down below, that'd be great. You know, let's get talking about it. Share whatever information you have or things you've thought of that I didn't cover. I think it'll be a very good topic for us to chat about. Anyhow, you guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. It was nice talking to you, and you take care.